Alright guys, welcome back to working on the RG Sinanju. So in the last video you saw that we took a look at the kit in detail, kind of addressing some of the issues that it has. In this video I just wanted to focus on what I'm going to specifically just be doing to my kit in terms of just like customizing this. So the first thing I'll talk about is just the colors, because we're only going to do like a little bit of modification to the kit basically. It's mostly just going to be recoloring. And the main color, replacing the red, is going to be tan here. Replacing all the gold or yellow in this case, now that all the gold is stripped off of there, so like the lining bits, that's all going to be done in white. And then all the black parts between the lining bits is going to be done in orange. In this case I'm using Nazca Mandarin Orange here for that. Now the frame will just still be kind of in a gray color. I'll probably use some Nazca Surfacer for that inner frame color. And then the feet I want to keep in like a dark gray. I'll probably make those in like a German gray or something like that for this black part. Only the black parts between the yellow parts is going to be what's in orange. There's that knee piece still falling off there. But as for the modifications to the kit, the first one that I want to do is something that I've always wanted to do with a Sinanju kit. I never knew which one to do it, and I will probably do this again. I have one of like the Sinanju head bust. I think it's like around 1/48 scale or something. I'll probably do that with that later, but I want to make the damaged face. Now I know there is a part set to make this available for the real grade. I don't have that, so I'm just going to make it myself. Shouldn't be all that difficult. So I've just got my router tool here. This is just the one from David Union. So it's pretty easy. You guys have seen me use this before. Because this is a pretty small kit, I need to use something kind of small for this one. I think maybe this one will be kind of good, because this bit here that I'm going to be using is pretty small, and because it doesn't actually need a ton of damage, it really only needs a little bit around this. Most of the damage is actually just like the paint is just like blasted away. There's not a ton of like, if you look at like the actual like official artwork for, there's not a ton of like actual physical damage on the part. Yeah, after just a couple minutes, here is how that's looking. I think that probably looks pretty good. And I'm just gonna hit this with a little extra thin cement, just to kind of clean that up a little bit, because you got all these little like little particles and stuff kind of everywhere. It's a little bit difficult to see exactly what you're working with, so you just get a little bit of glue on there, basically just to kind of melt that down. It'll also help because it's supposed to look burned, right? So you shouldn't have like little tiny bits. It should look kind of melted a little bit too right here. So there you go. That's how that's looking. I think that looks pretty good. So that is fine for now. Now the last thing is I've got this here, which is the Gundam Base Limited System Weapon Kit 07. So obviously the system weapons were not always Gundam Base Limited. It's just this is the new Gundam Base Limited version. I think it's exactly the same as the version that you could have got previously as just a regular system weapon set. This one includes parts for the Sinanju bazooka, and then parts for like the Jim semi-striker kind of axe double beam saber kind of weapon. Anyway, so the bazooka parts is what we're going to be using, and I want to use the alternate bazooka parts because we're changing the color scheme. Anyway, we're making like an alternate version of the Sinanju, sort of like an alternate reality version of the Sinanju where it's in different colors. It still has like the same damage on the eye, but has a little bit different type of bazooka. So let's see what we can do with this, and I'm not exactly sure at the moment how I want to actually outfit the thing, whether I want to have it like just holding the bazooka or with the bazooka attached onto the shield or the beam rifle. Not exactly 100% decided on that. We've got all of our runners and our effect parts, which I won't be using in this case. I'll just keep those for something else later on. Seems like the runners are kind of mixed, so it's like I was hoping that like one runner would be all the parts like for one weapon and the other parts for the other weapon, but that doesn't seem to be the case. They're all just kind of mixed in here. And you do also have some hand parts, which are useful, so we'll use those. But anyway, let me go ahead and put this together. The instructions are just printed here on the inside, the back of that. Let me put this together, see what it looks like. Alright, so I built it up here with the Special Forces bazooka and at there, and I was gonna try to see how this looks on the beam rifle, but I forgot that the RG beam rifle is slightly different from the HG beam rifle, and that this doesn't actually fit in there like that. There's this hole right here and this peg right here on the top, which don't actually fit together. And I think all you'd have to do is just cut that off the top of there, and then this probably would fit in there just fine. That's the only thing that's kind of holding it up. So let's go ahead and do that. I'm not actually even totally sure about if I'm going to use this in conjunction with the beam rifle yet, but either way I think I'll live without that little extra peg detail on the end of that. I just am curious to know if this will fit minus that. But yeah, it does. So minus that little peg that does fit on there. Now this is way too long like this. Unfortunately, the Special Forces end, which I do like because it's different, doesn't collapse down. Whereas like with the standard bazooka, which is just like that, you can remove this centerpiece and just have this plugged onto here like that for that. So I'm not sure quite yet at the moment which version of this, and you can change the camera equipment or whatever, this part here on the top, you can also change that out, so I'll do that here. I'll need to work on this to see which setup I want to ultimately go with for this. I do love this weapon, but I'm not sure, so let's go back to that.
5 minutes later.
Okay, nope, I've got it figured out here. What I'm going to do is just do something like this. Now I'm going to go with my gut. I was originally planning on just having the bazooka, and I was kind of second guessing it because I do like how the bazooka and beam rifle look when they're connected together. And the problem with the bazooka is that up over the shoulder, you kind of got this big shoulder armor and this head with the antenna, so it's kind of a small area for the back end of the bazooka to be up here, kind of resting comfortably, and it's kind of a bit awkward. So I think a under the shoulder grip like this actually works okay. And you are going to have the fuel tanks in the back. We're going to kind of have to work around those, but I think ultimately this style of holding the bazooka is going to work out just fine there for us. It's the Special Forces type bazooka, and with that we can start to disassemble the kit, disassemble everything. I'm going to toss it here in the bin, going to go give the parts a wash, and then we'll start on the painting.
3 weeks later.
Alright guys, so sorry to skip ahead from the work in progress all the way to the finished build here, but as you may know, I was in the process of moving out of my workspace before into where I'm at now, temporarily of just working at home, so really had to kind of rush to finish this build, and I'm very happy to say that I did, and I'm very happy with how this turned out, and here I am showing it to you now in its finished form. So now it's all been all painted up and detailed up and decaled up and posed up and based up on a base, and this is how it ends up turning out. And I'm very happy with it, and very happy that the colors, at least in my opinion, do seem to have worked out. So just a bit of background explanation as to why I went with these colors. If you guys missed it, I had a YouTube post a little while back about this particular set of colors being very universally applicable to pretty much any mobile suit design. It's kind of like the general Revel color scheme of like tan with white and orange accents, as we've seen most notably on the General Revel's version of the Rizel. And in my opinion, this particular color scheme can basically be made to work on almost any mobile suit. So what I did on YouTube and my community post was I just asked you guys to recommend a kit that you think that this color scheme would not look good on, and so there was a lot of votes, and I ended up tallying them all up, and actually the Unicorn won the contest. So I do still plan on making a Unicorn Gundam in this color scheme, but in, I think it was either second or third place. The Sinanju was also very high up there, so since I was working on a Sinanju kit, I felt like it was a perfect opportunity to just go ahead and try out the color scheme on a Sinanju, since I was working on revisiting this RG. So I promise that this color scheme applied on a Unicorn kit is something that I will still make in the future once I'm all set up in the new space later on, probably in the early part of next year. But at least for now, that is where the inspiration for this color scheme came from. It was a challenge that I made to you guys, and that you suggested that the Sinanju is a mobile suit that could not look good in this particular color scheme, this particular set of colors, and at least in my personal opinion, I think it ends up working out looking very good. I think this particular set of colors, I think, is just so universally applicable to pretty much any mobile suit design, and I'm willing to put that to the test, and you guys will definitely see this color scheme from me again, probably multiple times in the future, testing this against other different mobile suits that you guys suggested it may not look good on, and I'll try to think of some too. Obviously, as you guys saw in the little bit of work in progress, that there wasn't too much else custom work done on this. It's basically just fixed up a little bit and just repainted for the most part. I did do a little bit of custom work there on the damage on the eye. Like I said, that was something else that I wanted to that I've always wanted to do from just seeing that in the anime. I've always wanted to recreate that in model form. That is something else that I'm sure you guys will see me do again in other future Sinanju builds. So once again, on this one, I did one particular spot of damage, and that was the only thing that I did damage. Someone else mentioned that it's become like a theme with me after I did that with like the Jin, the Master Grade Jin. I did a little bit more damage on the Jin, though, in all fairness. I did some more damage on like the shoulder and skirt parts and everything. Just to damage that up to make the Nuo's custom Jin version that I did with that Master Grade painted build. Yes, this one is done in a similar way where there's like one particular spot of damage and that's really kind of the only thing on there. But like in my defense, that's how it was in the anime. In the anime, when the Sinanju was fighting, it got the bazooka shot in the face, and then that was pretty much it. I imagine most of the rest of the mobile suit was fairly undamaged, minus a few just little bumps and scrapes here and there. Probably had some, like realistically, some paint chipping on some bits. But my goal with this one was basically to make it as like the traditional Sinanju, but just like change some aspects of it. So like the bazooka is a little bit different, the color scheme is obviously different, so it's like an alternate universe version of the Sinanju essentially. But anyway, it's just a custom Sinanju, and I think it came out looking very good. Of course, the Sinanju is a super cool design. There's a reason why it's so popular. It's just a design that just always looks good and always looks very cool, so it's kind of hard to mess it up. That's probably why you've seen the Sinanju in just about every single color under the sun if you've spent any time looking around at builds online. You see red, blue, yellow, white, green, every single color, rainbow colors, metallic colors. But I gotta say, at least in my experience, I think this is the first time I've ever seen one in this particular color scheme. So I'm happy that it's something unique, and you know how successful it is. You guys can certainly let me know down in the comments your thoughts about that, how successful you think this is as a color scheme on this particular mobile suit. I think it ended up working out pretty well, and definitely the separation of the like black, what is traditionally black and gold on this kit originally, the decorative parts on it, those being separate parts here on the RG definitely make them easier to paint. On the HG or MG it would have been slightly more of a challenge, but basically just would have had to do a reverse wash, and I might have had to use a little bit different color orange or something like that, but I was glad to be able to use the orange. The orange is the Nazca Mandarin orange color. It's a very nice color orange, and I will say the white was a little bit challenging covering up those yellow parts with white. It took a number of layers of white to get a nice, as much as I could, and it's still not as pure as I would have liked, but to get a nice pure white on top of that bright yellow plastic was challenging. It took a lot of white paint, but ended up coming out pretty nice, and it's just, the kit looks nice, just all those smooth, sharp details and design features of this. It's just a very good looking kit, and I think this should definitely prove to at least some of you guys out there who were maybe hesitant about the Real Grade Sinanju that, as you can see, it's not that bad of a kit. Just give it a little bit of love, you know, pay attention to a couple little problem areas of the kit, and ultimately you can make a very cool build out of the RG, even though it's regarded as one of the worst RGs out there. It certainly is one of the worst RGs out there, I will definitely agree with that, but it's not a completely worthless kit by any stretch of the imagination. It's still a very great looking kit. It just needs a little bit more love than your standard RG and other versions of the Sinanju, but it's kind of a give and take because it is much easier to paint this version, but then you have the other problems that come with this version of the kit, whereas like with the master grade and the high grade, you have to deal with either stickers or waterslide decals or reverse wash, or any other way to like paint all the decorative parts is a little bit more difficult on other versions of the kit. So there's definitely pros and cons out there as to which one is the best. I still think that probably my personal favorite would maybe be the HG, just because I really like the design and proportions of the HG a lot. The master grade is also great, and this version also great as well in its own way, but there's something that I do really love about the HGUC version of this kit. But definitely let me know your guys' thoughts as to which version is your favorite, if this build and if this series of videos just revisiting the RG has made you rethink if you wanted to get the kit or not, if you had it and maybe got rid of it because you heard it was so bad, or if you've never bought it because you heard it was so bad. If this couple of videos has made you change your mind on that, let me know down in the comment section below. And of course, if you guys are interested in checking out some real grade kits, you can check the link and the coupon code USA Gundam Store down in the video description below. Thank you USA Gundam Store as always for making these videos possible. I hope you guys enjoyed this kind of mini series revisiting the Sinanju. If you'd like to see me do this more in the future, the Master Grade Delta Plus is definitely another one that's on my list. I can't say right now that that's going to be the next like revisiting the kit that I do in the future, but it's definitely one that's a high priority on that list. But if you guys have any other suggestions, definitely let me know in the comment section below. Other kits that kind of have a bad reputation that you would like to see me try my hand at, to see what I can do to show you guys kind of how to fix some of the issues with the kits, and or just kind of how to make the kit good even though it kind of has a bad reputation. Let me know your thoughts down in the comment section below. But as always guys, thank you so much for watching. Thanks for liking the video, commenting, subscribing. That's all greatly appreciated as well. And until next time, I hope you're all having a great day. I'll see y'all later. Bye guys.